All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the 4-3 show. I'm Ryan Blank, alongside Parker Dunn and Dominic Stern. Once again, we are without our fourth member and the vein that lives in my head, Pat Fortuna.
Mm-hmm.
But, gentlemen, how are we doing on a great Monday night?
It's been a busy Monday, so
Yes, I agree.
ready to talk about some football. Get that stuff off my mind.
Parker, how about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Getting over some sickness, and by getting over that doesn't mean that I'm near the finish line. I wish I could say that. I'm just taking it day by day. Was able to take advantage of the weekend to get a little bit more rest. With classes, kind of coming to an end with Thanksgiving break looming. I know one of my classes not going to meet on Wednesday, so that does help me a little bit.
Yes, we found that out today. That was great.
That was very helpful for me in my health, being that I could utilize any rest I can get leading up till Thanksgiving. So, we're not doing great as far as the health department goes, but we're getting a little bit better day by day, and hopefully we'll keep making progress.
That's great to hear, Parker. Glad you're feeling better. But the first thing I want to do before we get into football is I know we're mainly football, but we're also basketball. No, we don't talk about as much as we should, but we have to talk about what happened last night between the Pistons and the Lakers.
That was awesome.
Lakers and fours. What happened?
That was awesome.
For those that don't know about it, let me describe it. So, on a free throw, it looks like LeBron threw an inadvertent elbow and nailed Isaiah Stewart near the eye, and his face was bleeding. Stewart did not like that, and he went full Hulk mode to try to go after LeBron. So, I just want to ask you guys, what did you think about it?
I loved it. I mean, look, the intensity that this season's had has been at an all-time high compared to the last couple of years, relative to those years at least, because we're seeing the officiating getting better as far as allowing more contact, guys driving to the rim, trying to do a little bit of flopping. That's a no-go this year. And I think that for years I had been preaching that this needed to happen. At some point, the league had to dig themselves out of the hole that they created with all these ticky-tacky fouls. They've done that. This obviously goes so far beyond that. This is, this was a fight. This was a crazy scene. And, Malice in the Palace Part 2, not quite, didn't live up to the hype of that, but it was still entertaining to see because we're seeing these guys go out there, get a little hostile. And let me start by saying that it was clearly unintentional. LeBron's not a dirty player. He wasn't trying to do anything. It was just off of a free throw. He accidentally hit him up high, led to some bleeding. And from Isaiah Stewart's perspective, you can't blame him for being rather upset because, you just got hit in the face and you're bleeding. That sucks. So
Yeah.
I think that the situation was handled pretty fine. They tried to hold him back, but, man, he was just running through guys.
He was going full beast mode. He went through Cade Cunningham twice.
Cunningham tried to hold him back. He almost got through. Every personnel on that bench was trying to hold him back. And there's even that photo of Russ trying to square up, which is all talk. That's what I think, because he was behind like three guys, and he wasn't even the guy that he was going after. But still, so many funny things that came out of that. So I like the intensity. It's got that playoff basketball kind of feel. So, we don't want guys, necessarily throwing punches and getting hurt for non-basketball related reasons. It is kind of nice to see that intensity.
Dom, what about you? I know I showed you the video, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Lakers and four is what I'm talking about. This is just going to make the Lakers more motivated to figure it out, for lack of better terms, because they suck. Barely beat the Pistons. Obviously, LeBron getting ejected doesn't help that out, but I don't know. Like when I watched the slow motion, it didn't look pretty. It looked pretty uninverted from LeBron, and I don't know what would have caused that, but to get a player to react like that is really nuts. And for Stewart to do that, especially to one of the greatest basketball players of all time, is nuts. And I saw some LA media talking about how the Lakers aren't feared anymore. And that's why this happened. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it, but it was just shocking to see that happen, especially to someone like LeBron, who's so well respected by his peers, at least in terms of basketball. Some of them, they don't like how he complains to the refs, and that is reasonably so because he tends to get a lot of calls to go his way sometimes, and he also tends to not get them to go his way, and that leads to him complaining. So it was shocking to see a young player like Stewart. I mean, I remember him playing at Washington our freshman year in high school, or freshman year in college.
Yeah.
For him to do that, I think very bold. And I think that's more of a storyline, honestly, is how a young guy who's in his second year in the NBA charged at like the second greatest player of all time for something that may have been intentional, may not have been.
All right. So I think the funniest thing about it all is that at the end of it, the Pistons were like, oh, God, good. Finally, we got him to go into the tunnel. He ran trying to get all the way around to get to the Lakers bench. And then you see on the video, it's DeAndre Jordan and Melo saying he's not going to want to come over here. He was going to have to go up against probably Russ, DeAndre Jordan, and Melo to get to LeBron. And that would have been hilarious. But gladly, none of that happened.
All power to you.
Yeah, gladly, none of that happened. But I thought it was crazy. He's like, move. Then he's like, I'm calm. Then he just takes off going for LeBron. But I don't think it was inadvertent. I don't think it was intentional. I think it was inadvertent. And after the game, LeBron tried to get Stewart's phone number to apologize. So that just shows that LeBron didn't mean to do it. LeBron's not a dirty player. He never has been. So, but I just thought that was our nightly entertainment for Sunday night between the afternoon and Sunday night games. So, yeah, Pistons. What do you think they're going to do with Isaiah Stewart?
I mean, he already got suspended for 2 games by the league. They could take it into their own hands and add on a couple games if they want to go that approach. Ultimately, I probably think that, while it's not a good look for them, that's kind of the brand of basketball in Detroit. And I'm not saying that to, imply that I guess it's okay or like they're just not going to care that he did that. But I think that with the league stepping in, that's really done the job for them. Had the league done nothing, which of course they were never going to in that situation, then maybe you take matters into your own hands. I guess to kind of compare it to something is like when Draymond and KD were going at it for that one Clippers game, that caused a lot of issues. That wasn't something the league was going to step in and deal with. That's something they got to handle internally. This was something the league already did. So I think that that's really going to be about it for him. He's a good young player, puts up decent numbers. He's got a solid goal with that team.
Yeah.
So I don't think anything more comes out of it. I think they're going to want to try and distance themselves from that more than anything.
Dom, anything you want to add on that?
No, I mean, why would they do something? The NBA, it's the NBA's job to hold their players accountable, and they suspended him. So,
yeah. All right, let's get into the main event of our show, which is football. And it's weird. I was the only team that played yesterday. My team was the only one that played. But I want to ask you guys first, how was it just having a week to enjoy football and not worrying about your team's performances?
I mean, it's not the first time that it's happened this year because the Rams have already played Thursday night and they've played Monday night twice, I think. So this wasn't the first time. It's always a nice feeling just to be able to just watch football. Unfortunately, given my Sunday schedules here, my football
Sundays, baby.
Don't even get me started. My NFL indulgence has been at a minimal this year, and especially that's been I get an hour less of watching now that we've moved back an hour here in Arizona, and then we had a meeting earlier on Sunday morning, which was a very productive meeting.
Yes, it was.
But this meant less football. So the Rams not playing came on like a bad weekend for their bye and on my sake because I didn't get to watch as much football as I would have liked. But it's always relaxing. You just get to watch it, take it all in, and not have to worry about the result.
Parker, over to you.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, sometimes it's a blessing, with how the team looks. But kidding, of course. I'll love to watch the team no matter what. But it is kind of nice to be able to just sit back casually, enjoy the games where you have nothing at stake. And you can kind of just take it all in. It's kind of like with the Thanksgiving games. It's just such a good time to watch some bad teams play football for the annual tradition of Thanksgiving. Love to see the Lions get pounded on, Bears, you name it. But there's no pressure though.
Well, nice. The Bears don't play every Thanksgiving. They've played it a lot of lately.
They don't but
it feels like 100%.
It's like, oh my god.
The Lions host the morning game, the Cowboys host the afternoon game, and then some random.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah, that's really how it goes.
It is what it is. I get why, because either way, people are going to tune in. It's that's just what football fans are going to do, and you get big market teams, so like it's good viewership.
Lions big market.
Well, no, for teams like the Bears, like some of these better storied franchises.
Okay, that makes sense. I was like, Lions, big market.
Not specifically.
Yeah, I know.
The rest of the teams in NFC
I know.
North,
yeah,
or NFC East for that matter.
Yeah.
But it's it's good though. So I'm looking forward to those games at the end of the day though. I'm a sucker for them. I'll tell you that.
All right, I'll go into my team's performance. Wow, this Chiefs defense has been dominant the past 4 weeks. after allowing over 405 yards per game before in the first 7 weeks, along with 29 points per game. The Chiefs' defense in the past 4 weeks is averaging, I believe they're giving up under 295 yards and are surrendering only, I think, 11.8 points per game and have 8 takeaways. This defense has kicked it into gear, baby, and they looked incredible yesterday. I will say the offense looked good for their first 3 drives. Went touchdown, field goal, touchdown, looked really good. But after that, they really slowed down, and I was not too thrilled about it. But hey, defense came up big. They made plays, and it was nice to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire back. He was pretty impactful. He had 76 total yards and a touchdown. He looked good. Got a horrible taunting calls. I just think, and it's not just.
Well, I mean, considering that
Let me
what
say it this
taunting
way.
is, considering what taunting is, that is taunting.
Yes.
They've said do not interact with players before you cross the goal line. So
I'll say
he
this.
should have known better. It's stupid, but he should have known better.
The taunting rules overall are just stupid.
Right. And I
think
tweeted this
they're
out yesterday. Being an NFL official is already a really hard job. Like,
Yes.
the game moves so fast. So now that you have to add this extra element to officiating just makes it so much harder for them to do their jobs
Yeah.
and make sure, quite literally, the rule of the officials are to make sure the game is played by the rules and it's played fairly. How does Clyde Edwards-Helaire, pointing at the defender as he's walking into the end zone, break any rule that like makes the game like illegal or whatnot?
Yeah.
And B, like what does doing that do? Like, what do you gain from that? So
Nothing.
like, I get that the NFL is trying to limit the taunting, but like, you're making it so much harder on these officials and you're ruining the product of the game. It's dumb. Now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire should know, given the rules, to not point at him. That's the way it is. You have to play by the rules. That's the truth of it. But it's dumb. The NFL's dumb.
Yeah, I just think the whole taunting calls overall are stupid. I don't think it should be a thing.
Very.
But yeah, he needs to know better. That's just how my feelings go on it. But Chris Jones, my lord, the key reason why the Chiefs defense has really turned itself around is because he's back on the interior and he has been a beast. 3.5 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, and a pass breakup. He looked incredible. He was a monster all the way through. Frank Clark is making it hard for the Chiefs to really say, yeah, we're going to definitely cut you. He looked great yesterday. He had a strip sack. And then the corner duo of Charvarius Ward and L'Jarius Sneed were on top of their game. They each had 3 pass breakups and an interception. So they look great. The defense was at the top of its game, holding the top offense in the league that averages over 31 points per game to 3 field goals, kept them out of the end zone. You asked me that after the first 7 weeks, hey, can the Chiefs do that? I tell you no. I would have said they were probably giving up 40. So I was thrilled with how the defense looked. They looked incredible. And you know what? Everything from the past 3 weeks culminated into them shutting down that offense. And, I'm just waiting for their game, for a Chiefs game that has both the offense as dominant as they were against the Raiders and that defense as dominant as they were yesterday against the Cowboys. But going into their bye this week, I think it's a much-needed bye. And then they start a division stretch that's heavy with the last 6 games when they start with the Broncos at home. So I'm excited for what next week holds, but we'll see. So, gentlemen, performances of the week. Who stood out to you guys most? Parker, let's start with you.
I'm not really gonna say one that stood out to me necessarily, but I guess it's just a funny one. The Texans beating the Titans.
Yeah.
That's a game where when you look at their injuries, it's not like a game where you're like, how on earth did they lose this game? Have they been healthy? You could obviously say that. That's not really the case this time. And when I say that, I'm not implying like, oh, I had a feeling, my gut was telling me. No, absolutely not. I thought the Titans were still going to take care of business, probably cover the spread while they're at it. But they didn't do that. I mean, this is a team that's beaten some of the best teams in the league on a consistent basis so far this year. So even with those injuries, you just like to think that they're not going to play down to their competition. They're going to be able to get it done against a Houston Texans squad that now has their second win on the year. But that wasn't the case. So that's a funny one to highlight. Tyrod Taylor and the boys did just enough. But that was a weird day just because, while it's a divisional matchup, weird stuff can happen in those kind of games. Titans are at home. They're still a significantly better team. You'd like to think Tannehill can throw the ball around, get some guys open, and they could pull it off. But they found themselves down early. There was a little brief window where it looked like maybe they'd be able to crawl back out, but weren't able to do it. And that's just one of those games where the AFC is pretty tight right now. And that was kind of what I was indicating last week, where while they're at the top right now, they could easily slip up and lose that spot if they're not careful. Games like that are the ones that you can't afford to lose.
Yeah, and you said it was, surprising 10.5-point spread. To me, divisional games, anything can happen, like you said.
Yeah.
These teams, they know each other. And when you look at it, it's a banged up team. Like the Titans are so banged up. So I wasn't too surprised. I think we all picked Tennessee here.
Yeah.
Didn't hesitate about it, but I figured it would be a relatively close game. But to see Tennessee just struggle so badly offensively was alarming. Tyrod Taylor's 2-2 on the year, guys. He's 2-2. One of the wins is over Jacksonville, but
Hey.
he is 2-2. So I think Tyrod Taylor deserves a lot of credit for how he's playing. Granted, he only had 107 pass yards in this game, but 14 of 24, that's solid. He also had 28 rushing yards. Didn't put the ball in harm's way. That's all you can do when you're playing in a game in the rain, especially a game in which Texans were leading the entire way. So shout out to Tyrod.
All right. For me, I don't know which game I want to pick because there were a few things that stood out to me. I think that looking at yesterday's slate, I've got to say the Vikings, and mainly the connection between Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. Those two were on the same wavelength throughout the entire game. Through the first quarter, Justin Jefferson had over 100 receiving yards. And then he goes on to have 2 touchdowns, and they get a huge win. We said it all along this season that this Vikings team is better than what their record indicates, and they proved that yesterday by finally winning a close game. So that was probably the shocking one to me, but it's insane. Aaron Rodgers, they give him over 2 minutes, needs one play, and goes downfield with Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I thought that was crazy. And then too much time for Kirk, goes down the field, gets the win. So
this was a week. And I think these weeks are starting to get to me. Like, I think the injuries are getting in my head a little bit. It worked out last night for Sunday Night Football, switching to the Chargers, but there were so many games this week. And if I look back to every week, there's so many where those injuries are getting in my head because I'm not going with who I probably would go with at the end of the day. I think they're holding a little bit too much weight in my head. And that Minnesota game wasn't one where there was injuries that scared me. I mean, the Packers were very banged up. And they suffered some more injuries in that game.
Belton Jenkins is out, so they're now down their 2 tackles.
Yeah.
I mean, they're down bad when it comes to offensive line. But that was a game where, part of me really wanted to go Minnesota because, again, the divisional thing comes up into play. They're at home. They need a win if they're going to have any chance of staying, I guess, technically in that division, but also not only that, but just having a chance at a wild card spot.
Right.
And I didn't do it. I didn't go with it, and I regret it. And that was one of those games where it's like I kicked myself for not doing it. I was just praying the Packers were going to win, so I could not feel so awful about it. But they couldn't get it done. But good on the Vikings, though. Jefferson was an absolute menace all game long for them, or for the Packers, I should say. They couldn't stop him. Thielen had his moments. Those two were so good together. And Kirk's just continuing to put together a good season. So there really is a high ceiling for this team. How high, I couldn't tell you. It comes down to being able to finish games strong. They had big leads in the Ravens game that they blew. They had a lead in that Packers game. It got close, but they were able to pull it out. So if they can continue to be kind of gritty and find a way to win games late, it's going to be a difficult team to beat for a lot of guys.
Well, they've been banged up, especially on the defensive end. They got Harrison Smith back. They got Patrick Peterson back.
Yeah. Then Patrick Peterson got hurt again.
He did come back, but yeah, I know. It kind of shows that the injury bug's kind of jumping away at them a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. But point being, they're getting healthy. I think they're really a team to watch out for in the NFC, in which a lot of these teams haven't really taken advantage of it. Granted, the Saints were about to, and then Jameis Winston got hurt against the Buccaneers. So the NFC playoff picture is really wide open. The Vikings are right in it. The 49ers are right in it. The Saints are still there. The Panthers, the football team's trying to get back in it. There are a lot of teams that are still vying for a playoff spot. And I think that the NFC, the way it winds down, is going to be really interesting. And also, if the Rams come out of their bye slow, like how they went into it, I'd imagine they don't. But if they do, all of a sudden they're not a lock anymore because there's a lot of teams that are going to be
Yeah.
hungry for it. So I think the NFC playoff picture is wild, and it's going to be fun. Want my game of the week now?
Yes,
Or-
Dom, I realized I
performance of the
skipped
week?
you and I feel bad.
No,
So,
no, no.
yes, go
no,
ahead.
because I jumped in on Parker's point about the I already forgot what game you talked about.
You talked about the Texans.
Right. How about the Colts going on
Yeah,
the road in
that's a good
Buffalo and absolutely dismantling the Bills?
Oh, whoa. Jonathan Taylor dismantled the Bills.
Well, no, because the defense for the Colts had to play. And
Yeah,
they played
that's
a lot,
true.
and they played well. They made Josh Allen look like the young Josh Allen, the Josh Allen I
That's very
saw
true. Defense
a
looked
lot
really
of
good.
Wyoming, holding the Bills to 2 touchdowns, one of which was a garbage time touchdown, in which the Colts were up 41-7. So
Yeah.
it was a dismantle. I mean, the Colts, we talked about it early on. They had a really tough schedule. They weren't giving Jonathan Taylor the ball. I traded him away because they weren't giving him the ball, and all of a sudden he has a touchdown and over 100 scrimmage yards in every game since then. So you're welcome, Colts, because I traded away Jonathan Taylor. You guys saw the true light. And he's taken a lot of weight off Carson Wentz's back. That offensive line is dominant, and they're extremely dominant in the run, led by Quentin Nelson, the guard. He pulls, he'll just mow you down. And all of a sudden, the Colts are above 500 at 6-5 with the Titans losing. They're 2 games back. They still have a game against the Titans, and I tell you right now, they're probably going to win that game. If only Carson Wentz didn't have like a couple of horrible passes, Ryan, get off your phone, during that game, all of a sudden you're looking at the Colts being right there with the Titans in this division.
But this is worth it. The notification says at the Bulls game they started a chant that said "Fire Nagy." That's hilarious.
That is cool.
That's relevant. So I figured it'd be worth pulling
Sure.
that up.
Yes, we can talk about that in a little bit because disaster. But I mean, the Colts, they're for real. The defense is starting to play well again, and the offense has found its rhythm now that they're actually giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor. 32 for 185, 4 touchdowns rushing, 1 more receiving. Everyone was talking about Alvin Kamara and comparing his performance.
Yeah.
So
No.
I think that you're really looking at a team like the Colts that's trying to make that playoff push. It's not about where you are in September and October. It's about where you are in November, December, and January. They're starting to peak. As for the Bills, they have time to turn it around. They're 6-4. They're going to be entering their. We know they already had their bye week, so
Yeah, they did.
they got to figure it out. And they still have to play the Patriots twice, guys.
Yeah, those are going to be.
That's
fun.
going to
Those are
be
gonna
so
fun.
Are the
electric.
Patriots the best team in the AFC?
There's an argument to be made. It's
With Derrick Henry out?
they're certainly playing like it. I'll give them that. I don't know if I give them that crown yet, but they're definitely playing better than anybody. I mean, they've won 4 of their last 5,
Yeah.
5 of the last 6.
They won 5 in a row.
They've won
Yeah,
5 in a row.
5
They're
in a row.
5-0 on the road,
Yeah.
That's
and
impressive.
they played the Buccaneers to a game-winning missed field goal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the Cowboys in overtime at home. So, to be honest with you, the way this defense is playing, the way the offense operates with multiple running backs and a quarterback who doesn't put the ball in harm's way because he's so smart, I think they're the best team in the AFC right now.
Yeah, I mean, unless the Titans get healthy, they're probably the best team. I will give them that.
Well, Tannehill's played like doo-doo ever since Derrick Henry went down.
Didn't he commit 6 turnovers yesterday? I know he had 4 picks.
He had 4 picks and you fumbled the ball twice. I didn't see how many of those he lost. All I know
Jeez.
is I lost
Looked
a fantasy
horrible.
point for each one.
I'd probably take a healthy Titans team.
Right.
But that's
Yeah,
but they're not.
A lot, since Derek, even if he does get back, that'd be right around the wild card.
They need the
so-
bye really badly.
Yeah, they do.
And-
So I probably would say Patriots as well.
As of right now, I'd agree. I'd say the Patriots are the best team in the AFC. The Titans have not looked good.
And then the Chiefs are probably number 2, which is
Bill
wild.
Belichick's mastermind stuff. Man.
Yeah. Like, the mastermind of Bill Belichick continues to haunt the AFC. And also, let me tell you the reason why I was on my phone. Because you mentioned Jonathan Taylor. I want to say RIP to all the fantasy players that went against him, like me this week, who when he scored 53.5 points.
Eckler had 4 touchdowns too.
Yeah, you wonder what happened to me? I went against the Patriots defense, Austin Eckler, and Jonathan Taylor.
In the same league?
Yep.
I don't believe you.
It's a 6-team league.
6 team?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The worst.
All right.
Yeah, that's why. It was
okay. All right.
it was
I believe you
brutal.
now. That, well, if you're going to lose, you might as well lose big. I mean,
he's
if we're
put up
being
over
honest.
200 points.
Well, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. So that's what I was doing, Mr. Yelling at people.
It's just funny.
Yeah, just like how your guest speaker yelled at that student today.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Parker, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
That was a top 5 most entertaining moment of my Cronkite education career.
Yeah, dude, that was
Most
cool.
entertaining.
That's so cool.
A student got called out by a guest speaker for being on his phone the entire time. And then,
That's so funny.
and then she's like, and then the next person who called on was, of course, Parker's sweet girlfriend, Emily. And it was so funny how quickly things like turned around. It was, oh my God, it was awesome. I just had to sit there and laugh.
All right, Parker, you just kind of segued into it. Matt Nagy,
Mhm.
how does this man still have a job?
You know, there are some guys that just they have a knack for staying around. It's like Bill O'Brien's of the world. They just hang on so tightly, and it just you kind of question it from a fan's perspective. I mean, obviously, there's so much that we don't know.
Yeah.
As to why these guys are like within organizations. Maybe they get along with everybody. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm not the one in that position to be able to tell you. But yeah, Nagy's a guy that he's had some good defenses. He inherited Vic Fangio when he came in there and did wonders for that team. He left him a great foundation to work with. And with Trubisky, he had the second overall pick at his disposal to try and mold into his guy. Wasn't able to do it. And Mitch gets memed a lot. And a lot of it he definitely deserves, but a lot of it falls on the Nagy. He never had the right play call set for him. He didn't mix up the run game to take some pressure off him. And Ryan mentioned now Carson Wentz. That helps a quarterback tremendously. That can't be understated. So there's a lot that he has not and did not do well for the organization. To the fact that he's still around, a little bit of a head scratcher. I mean, maybe they're waiting for the right guy. Maybe they're going to continue to stay internally, as we see with some teams. And maybe there is some sort of large grand scheme of things that they have planned that we're not aware of. There are the contingency plans should they decide to kick him out. But as of right now, though, from our perspective, it does look a little bit silly that he's still there.
Tom, do you have anything you want to add, or should I ask this question? I'll ask it.
Yeah.
If the Bears lose to the Lions on Thanksgiving, does he get fired? Does he get fired after that game?
Yes, that'd be a really rough way to get fired. And the Bears have never fired a head coach midseason before. Not sure if you
That's
guys knew that. Some people do some things to keep their jobs, keep things. So I'm not accusing Matt Nagy of doing anything like that, but he might be doing something behind the scenes that we don't see that could be allowing him to keep his job. It's mind-boggling. I mean, they went on like a 4-game stretch last year where they played the 4 worst teams in the league, and they won all 4 games, and that saved his job, which was idiotic. It was idiotic. And shockingly, the result was the same this year. It's been bad. Matt Nagy hasn't been a good coach. The only reason the Bears went to the playoffs twice was because he had one of the best defenses of our lifetime. And the offense was okay that year. And then they went 500, got the 7th seed.
Yep.
And that's how they got it. It's mind-boggling stuff, honestly.
All right, Parker. Do you think he's going to get canned if that happens?
If they lose to the Lions?
Yes, he's got to, right?
I mean, that's certainly a good reason. I mean, this is a team that might be the first ever to go 0-16-1. I mean, I'm rooting for it at this point. Like, as much as I would love to see Green Campbell get a win.
Jared Goff get a win.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
Tim Boyle's probably going to be playing at quarterback, though.
Yeah, he was this week against the Browns. There's a good chance he will again. This is a team where if you lose to those guys, I mean, oh, gosh. I mean, he's already in a situation where, like, you could argue should have been last year, the year before. So if they lose to the Lions this year, that might be the final nail in the coffin. But I don't know. Maybe organizationally, they just don't believe in firing guys midway through the season. So maybe he sticks it out until week 18 comes to an end, and then he finally, gets that call and it's gone. But I don't know. So I think that if he does lose to the Lions, and if that team does, he should. But I don't know if that's going to be what does it. Because, he's survived this far. So what more can he possibly do wrong before, it ends with him getting kicked out?
I just think he's got to be canned if they lose this game. He's got to be, right?
That'd be a brutal day to get fired on Thanksgiving.
But they
At
have no
least
excuse to lose that game. I don't care who's under center for them. It could be Nick Foles. It could be Mitch Trubisky once again. I don't care. Tim Boyle had a quarterback rating of 6.7
against the Browns defense that had been struggling.
And then you think it's okay if he loses that game? Like,
No, I'd say it was okay that he loses that game. I think that it would just suck for you to get fired on Thanksgiving. That was all I said.
okay, fine. Wait till Saturday.
Or Friday.
No, give him Black Friday too.
Why? Black Friday sucks.
No, give him a sense
It
of
is
feeling that he
so
can buy a lot of stuff
hypocritical
for his kids.
Of Americans to go and have like this family meal or meal with your friends and to say like how thankful you are for everything. And then the next day or even that night, go out and just buy a bunch of stuff on discount and like run over people and like
Whoa.
that's what happens on Black Friday, Ryan. Have you ever
Well,
have you
also-
ever been to a Walmart on Black Friday, Ryan?
I've always wanted to.
No,
I have never been to a
no.
Walmart on Black Friday.
Do
I have
not.
been to multiple places where people are
Well,
like
sorry.
tackling each
It
other.
was Black Friday it was Thanksgiving night. It is awful. It's an awful experience. The worst in people comes out. It sucks. And I had a massive like allergy attack in this Walmart.
What? Hold on. You had
Yeah.
an allergy attack in a Walmart?
Yeah, you heard me.
Please explain.
Like I was just coughing, like sneezing like mad. Like you guys haven't really seen it out here in Arizona, but like I'll get allergies sometimes and it gets really ugly. I get like really dry throat, really itchy. My eyes get super like bloodshot and like they're just tired and like baggy eyes and just sneezing and coughing like mad. It's a traumatic experience, Ryan, if we're being completely honest.
It's a
and
traumatic
Thank you.
experience.
Thank you for making me relive it, but
I'm so sorry.
no,
man. Do I need to pay for your therapy?
no, you don't.
Good.
But no, if you're gonna fire him, don't say it's Black Friday.
It would be a Black Friday for him. It'd be a dark day for him losing his job. But I just think that it's gotten to the point where I'm shocked he still has a job. And I know the Bears have never fired a head coach midseason. This is different. This is really different.
How is it different? It's not. They're an organization that prides themselves. So if they don't want to fire their head coach mid-season because they've never done it, then they're not going to.
I think they should. I also think he should have been gone after last year.
Yes, he should have been. That was their mistake, especially if they wanted to get a new quarterback.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can't give a head coach two young quarterbacks that use first-round draft picks on.
Yeah.
It's not going to go well. Like what made them think that it was going to go any differently with Justin Fields with a worse defense? Because their defense straight up isn't good.
And they just lost Khalil Mack for the season.
Right. Ugly.
It's just, I think they're a mess. I also think Ryan Pace should be fired too, their GM.
Right.
He's been a dumpster fire as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, let's get into our picks for this week. We have to do the same thing with Pats. How did we do last week, Dom? Did we compare?
It wasn't as good. I think we missed like 3 or 4.
Hey,
It
solid.
was a tough week in general.
Yeah.
Do we want standing updates?
Yeah,
And the Buccaneers are up by 17, so I think we
Okay.
can
Yeah.
rule
ahead.
that a win. The Buccaneers to stay undefeated at home, Ryan. They're going to
They
cover.
have a problem on the road.
They are currently covering the spread at home. So the Buccaneers, very Jekyll and Hyde, and it's all about where they're playing. Just
Yes. So,
pointing
Dom,
that out for you people.
go ahead and add that game to the standings.
No, I'm not going to add it until it's over, but I was just saying because we
Okay.
all picked Tampa Bay.
Yep.
So Parker still holds the lead at 93 and 54,
jeez.
having a great year, but the gap is closed. Ryan gained a game on Parker. He's 91 and 56. I am 85 and 62. I did not drop any games on Ryan.
He did. Dropped one.
Oh yeah, I dropped one.
Cowboys.
Right. Well, it was Cowboys and then the Pittsburgh Steelers. They came back from down 17, took the lead, and then just
That was
immediately
so
gave it away. You losers, gosh. Oh, it was just a complete breakdown in coverage. Mike Williams went wide open on the sideline. I was devastated. But yeah, 85 and 62. Once again, very respectable record. Ryan and I were talking about this yesterday. We're all just good. And then there's Pat at 70 and 77. So he's gonna creep up. He actually had a solid week. He
texted us, and throughout the morning games, he was doing pretty well.
Right. He had the Indianapolis upset.
Yeah.
He had Minnesota, which wasn't really an upset. They
Yeah.
closed as 1.5-point underdogs.
Mm.
Well, that's about it, actually.
No? Oh, yeah, he did take the Titans.
Yeah.
He did take the Titans. All right, let's get into this week. We've got the first game on Thanksgiving. Bears-Lions in Detroit.
Listen,
I think
guys.
might have an impact.
No, it won't. Listen, there are 3 sure things in life: death, taxes, and the Detroit Lions losing on Thanksgiving. Tim Boyle is starting at quarterback for these guys. Do not take the Lions. I don't care. If Andy Dalton plays, they're going to win. If Justin Fields plays, they're going to win. The Lions
I
lose
think
on
they already
Thanksgiving.
named Dalton as starter this
Okay.
week.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton's going to win. Red Rifle.
Yeah, I have the Bears winning this one too.
Good.
This is a game where I'm just not gonna pick the Lions going for it. I'm rooting. I'm rooting for them. I flipped the script. I want to see them break a different kind of record, and that's going to 16-1. And this is going to get them one more step closer.
I'm also going to take the Bears in this one. Like you said, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. They lose every year on Thanksgiving, and this team just can't seem to get anything done. And then Tim Boyle's under center. That just describes it all.
And we know Pat's going to pick the Lions.
Pat is taking the Lions. This is a Pat pick.
Just about every single week.
Yep. Next up, Raiders, Cowboys.
I'm going to take the Cowboys despite the injuries they have currently at wide receiver. It doesn't matter. The Raiders stink. They've lost 3 in a row, and they haven't looked good in either game. They were right there with the Bengals, but anyone who watched that game knew the Bengals were going to win it, and they ended up running away with it late. So I'm going to take the Cowboys at home. They do win sometimes on Thanksgiving. If they play a good team, they get killed. If they play a bad team, which is normally what it ends up being, they get killed. The Raiders don't qualify as a good team, so I think they win.
Yeah, I got the Cowboys winning this one too. Be a nice bounce back win for them. Them playing at home, in front of the 100,000 fans there. They're gonna get it done. The Raiders are a team that have gone backwards, and it makes sense based on the way we view this team coming into the year. I think that downward trajectory continues, so Dallas gets it done.
Struggles continue for the Raiders as they fall for their 4th straight, and I think the Cowboys take this one, get back in the win column.
And Pat's going to pick the Raiders because he always does, despite Ryan.
Yes, even though it doesn't matter because the Raiders suck. Next up, Bills, Saints.
So tough game because
I don't think it is.
neither of these 2 teams are playing well. So it is tough. Now, granted, one of them has their quarterback, and I think that's Ryan, what you were alluding to. So I'm going to take the Bills, but they haven't looked good. And the Saints, they kind of aren't the team that you want to be not playing well against. Sean Payton, as much crap as I like to give him, he's a good head coach. This team is very well coached. They have a good defense, very good on the offensive line. So I think that can pose some problems to the Bills. Short week, though, for some of their injuries, such as Kamara. That doesn't help them out, so I'm going to take the Bills.
Yeah, Bills for me here too. This is a team where they're weird. They've been weird since week 1 when they got absolutely pummeled by the Steelers. They're just a team where when they're hot, they're really hard to beat. They're up there with the top 3 team in the league. And when they're cold, they're just as bad as just about anybody, which is a really weird combination to have. This is a team where I believe more in Josh Allen than I do in Trevor Siemian, as much as I still have a little bit of love for him. I think that the Bills defense gets it done more than anything. If it's a slugfest, there's low scoring, then the Bills defense is going to outplay the Saints defense, although they are good as well.
I got to take the Bills. I don't trust Trevor Siemian at quarterback. I don't. And yeah, he turned on a little bit at the end of the game, but it was garbage time, so it doesn't really matter. He threw a pick 6 to Darius Slay. He just hasn't looked good. So also I think their contract that they gave Taysom Hill today is stupid. Stupid.
Definitely one of the more bizarre contracts.
Well, it was unique, is what the word that Schefter, or was it Schefter or was it Rappaport that originally reported it?
I think it was Schefter that first reported it.
Yeah, it was unique. I mean, the way that Taysom Hill is able to play positions, and if he is their quarterback going forward, if he were to play under that contract, he would be grossly underpaid. Now, Taysom Hill sucks at quarterback, so that's not in their best interest. But if Winston's not going to come back from this ACL injury,
they're going to draft someone.
They might, yeah. But they're going to be picking in the middle-ish area because they're either going to make the playoffs. Yeah, they are.
They are in the Denver territory.
The Denver or the Vikings, both those teams, very similar.
Yes. All right. So I have the Bills in this one.
Yep. And then
Moving
Pat's going to pick New Orleans because he's going to pick against the Bills.
Yeah. He always picks against the Bills.
That's what I said.
Next up, now we're going to move on to Sunday. Steelers, Bengals.
Interesting game here because I think these 2 teams have been very tough to read. I'm going to take the Steelers again. I have a feeling I'm going to be alone on them. That's fine. I need to gain some ground. I'll take the experienced quarterback, Minka Fitzpatrick. I have no idea whether or not he's going to be back from COVID, but I'd like to think that he will be. And if he's back, that helps their defense out tremendously. Hopefully, TJ Watt, whose injury didn't seem that serious, also comes back. I'm going to take Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. They didn't look very convincing in that win against Las Vegas. I don't care what the score says.
Yeah, if those guys come back, it's a different kind of game. But I was just talking about earlier how I get too caught up on the injuries. Obviously, it's a big deal and you can't overlook them. But
Yeah.
I think I get a little bit in my head with that. So I think I'm going to stick with the Bengals here unless something catastrophic happens to the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. So I'm going to go with Joe Burrow and the boys, see if Jamar Chase can have another big game. And I think that's what it's going to take if they're going to be able to get it done at home. So we're hoping for Bengals.
Big Ben's looked good in recent weeks, and so is the Steelers' offense. So I'm going to put the stipulation that I put on a couple games last week. If Minka and TJ Watt return, give me the Steelers. If they don't, give me the Bengals. That's really what comes down to is their defense, because they were missing those two heavily last night. So that's how I'm going to take care of that game.
So you want the Steelers if Minka and TJ play?
Yeah.
If one of them plays, you do not want them.
If one of them plays, give me the Steelers. So if one of them plays, give me the
Okay.
Steelers.
Minka
If both of them are out,
or TJ.
give me the Bengals.
Got it. All right. I wrote that down in the doc. It's in there.
Who-
And then
Who does Pat go for? You said Bengals?
oh yeah, Bengals. For
Yeah,
sure.
He does like Joey B. So we'll give him the Bengals. Next up, Panthers Dolphins.
We're gonna take the Panthers. Offense finally looked good. It was odd that the one game where their offense actually shines, the defense lets them down.
Yeah.
Because their defense has been very good this year. But I think they bounce back. This could get really ugly with Tua playing in this game. He did not look good against an awful Jets defense. So I'm going to take the Panthers here very confidently, actually.
Panthers here as well. I feel pretty confident too. The only thing they would need me to not be as confident is the Dolphins' defense looks pretty good. I like what they've done the last couple of weeks, and obviously they haven't played the best of teams, but still the defenses look good, and it's a Panthers offense that isn't particularly special, even with Newton. I do think it's significantly better, and I think they're going to win because of having him. But I think it can be a close game. It could be more of a defensive game. It makes sense with the DNA of these teams. And I think that Cam Newton ultimately has a couple tricks up his sleeve and get them.
The offense for Carolina looks a lot better with Cam. I sincerely think that because he hasn't turned the ball over. So I'm going to take them comfortably just because Tua looks horrible. And I think that Cam is going to be able to play well and keep that offense rolling a little bit because they look good. It's just their defense didn't play well. And I think their defense will bounce back after a tough game where they struggled against Taylor Heineke. So I'm going to take the Panthers in this one. Next up,
Pat's going to take Cam Newton and pick against the Dolphins.
Yeah, he's anything with Cam Newton. He loves Cam.
And he also won't pick a division rival.
That's true. He might pick the Jets in the game. If they're facing the Bills, he'll pick the Jets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's there. He has to pick someone.
Yeah. So next up, Eagles, Giants.
The Eagles, they've established their identity, and it is running the football. They are ferocious. My gosh. Jalen Hurts really starting to look the part as the Eagles quarterback, and the Giants, they do not look good. So I'm going to take Philly.
Yeah, going in for me too here. I think that Hurts has put together a good back-to-back games. I think that he can definitely look to do it again on the road over in Giants territory. I think that the teams look decent on the defensive side of things, but really they just had an awakening on offense. So him and Devontae Smith can continue to have that connection. I think that they get past that.
Went to the Eagles in this one. Like you said, they found their offensive identity. Jalen Hurts has been really, really good running the ball. I think he had 3 rushing touchdowns yesterday. His effectiveness as a dual threat has really taken that offense to new levels. So I'm going to take the Eagles in this one. What about Pat? This one's tough.
It is, because it's the two teams that have beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl,
Yes.
which is funny. I do too, because I feel like they all hate the Giants more because
more hate for the Giants.
Yeah.
Just being that they did it twice and even home
they beat
impact and whatnot.
the undefeated Patriots team. So I'm going to go Eagles for Pat.
I agree. I got to go Eagles. I just think you guys bring up good points of how they beat them and the teams that they beat. So I'm going to take the Eagles for him. Next up, Titans Patriots.
I'm going to take the Patriots here. I just said that they're the best team in the AFC, so it'd be hard pressed for me to not take them at home.
Put your money where your mouth is. Exactly, Dom.
So
Yeah, I'm taking him here too. Julio's not coming back. He's on IR, so it's a situation where the Patriots are the better team coming in because of those injuries. I think that they get it done at home.
I agree. I'm going to take the Patriots. That defense is really good. The offense is doing a great job of using multiple running backs, like you said, Dom. And the defense is just really playing well. And then the offensive line is doing a great job with Mac Jones really being smart with the football. So I'm going to take the Patriots over the Titans in this one. We know who Pat's taking. It's Patriots. There's no doubt.
Mhm.
Next up, Falcons Jaguars.
Stinker Bowl. I'm going to take the Falcons, though. Mini bye. Jacksonville looked bad again.
I don't like either of these teams, obviously. I'll still take the Falcons because there's more to like about that team. As much as Trevor Lawrence is fun to watch occasionally, when he can put together some good throws. I think that Jaguar team is so abysmal. So while they're at home, I think the Falcons get it done. Also, Atkins put on IR, so that's another reason.
Yeah.
Shout out to Raros.
Yeah, this is a tough game just because that Falcons team is just so bad.
They play really bad on the road.
Yeah.
The only quarterback they beat on the road is Trevor Siemian.
I'm really thinking about taking the Jaguars, but their biggest threat as of recent weeks really has been Agnew. He was just put on IR. So I'm going to end up taking the Falcons in this one. Also because there's a chance that Calvin Ridley might come back. Not for sure, but there's a chance. So I'm going to take the Falcons in this one. We know Pat's taking the Jags. He won't.
Yep.
He's been weird with the Jags all year. Next up, Buccaneers on the road against the Colts.
On the road.
Yep.
On the road.
I'm gonna take the home team here. So I'm going to take the Colts here. They're playing really good football. I don't see why I wouldn't take them. Tampa Bay, they've struggled on the road, so why not roll with the Colts?
Yeah, I'm doing that too. I thought I might be alone on this one, taking into consideration the fact that the Colts are at home and they do look pretty good right now. It doesn't surprise me that I'm not alone, but I do think that they win. I think that this is a game where it's so big for the Colts because this is a week where we have the Titans losing, so they get one more game back on them. Should they be able to take care of business on their end? And with the Buccaneers, there's still some injuries in that secondary. Still some uncertainty all around, so I do think that this is a week where the Colts is better than.
I thought I was going to be alone too, Parker. I'm taking the Colts. This Buccaneers team struggles on the road, and they're facing a Colts team that is looking really good right now. Defense is looking good. Offense has really found itself. Carson Wentz is playing pretty well. So I'm going to take the Colts in this one.
And then Pat's going to take Tom Brady.
Yep, of course. Another stinker bowl this week. Jets, Texans.
I'm going to take the Texans. The Jets look awful. Tyrod Taylor is 2-2. I'm going to take the Texans.
Yeah, Texans here too. Tyrod's more likable than anything the Jets could possibly throw their way. So I think that while this is a weird game, outside the work Oakland, you root for. So I think the Texans get that.
I'm not even going to lie to you, Parker. I kind of forgot that Philip Lindsay was on the Texans still.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I do until I see like red zone and the Texans on the field somewhere.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the Texans. I think that the Jets are just a dumpster fire, whoever they have under center. And like you said, Dom, Tyrod Taylor has them at 2-2 when he started. So give me the Texans in this one.
Something.
Pat.
He's going to pick against the Jets.
Texans.
Yeah.
Especially if it was Davis Mills starting. Easy. But I'm still going to give him the Texans in this one. Next up, an AFC West matchup between the Chargers and Denver. So who do we have?
I mean, I hate this, but I'm going to take the Chargers. I just don't know how Denver's going to look coming out of the bye. Like I've told Parker, I hope that Pat Shurmur and Vic Fangio have gone to rest during this bye week, the extra sleeps, and have realized that Javonte Williams is the best running back that they have and that he's really, really good. They should give him the ball more. I'm not just saying that because he's on my fantasy team. I'm saying it because I've watched the dude run and he's unbelievable. Bad pick, like you said, but He's the better running back.
He runs angry.
Yeah.
I love it.
But the Chargers have been super impressive. On defense, they're looking rough. Linval Joseph just went on the COVID list. Jerry Tillery, he's out too. So if the Broncos are going to win, they're going to want to run the ball. They should want to run the ball anyways because Teddy Bridgewater's their quarterback. But I'm going to take the Chargers here.
Yeah, I almost forgot to give a shout out, but Courtland Sutton and Tim Patrick were signed to extension. So
Oh, I didn't see Tim Patrick was signed to extension.
That was earlier this past week.
yeah, he was before Sutton.
Oh yeah, it was earlier this week.
3 year 30, and then Portland you think
4 year 60.
4 year 60. That's what I knew it was 15 year.
Yeah.
So I like it. Keep those guys and Pat Judy's on a rookie contract. So that's good. Positive news there. Not positive news for this game though. I think the Chargers win this one. The Broncos are just so wildly unpredictable. This is a Chargers team which is at 6-4. They're capable of putting up huge numbers offensively. The defense is pretty good. But we're the kind of offense and really just the kind of coaching staff that underperforms. They don't know how to put the pieces together against divisional opponents. They get outplayed massively. You see all the time with this Denver team. So I think the Chargers get it done. Herbert's going to do just enough. And Chargers get it done. I wouldn't be surprised if Denver goes on the win. That's just too unpredictable. So the Chargers seem like a safe bet.
Yeah, I hate to do it, but I'm going to pick the Chargers in this one. This Denver offense just seems all out of sorts. And I think, like you said, Dom, they need to keep giving the rock to Javonte Williams. So,
And Bolden got hit with COVID,
oh, yeah, he did test positive today.
which is also a huge deal. So
Yeah.
not looking too good.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Chargers in this one. What about Pat?
I think we'll go with the Chargers.
Yeah, I think he will too.
Yeah, that's a tougher one to pick.
Yeah,
from.
that's one that if we're going to get wrong, it'd be that game.
Yeah. Next up, Vikings and Niners.
I mean, really tough game because these two teams, they started off kind of rough.
Yeah.
They play close games, but they're starting to peak right now. I'm going to take the better quarterback. I'm going to take the Vikings here. That's really all I got. I think this is going to be a fantastic game.
So conflicted. I currently have the 49ers circled in. I think it's funny. I think when I opened this app, I had the Vikings. I switched to the Niners. God, this is such a coin flip. I feel like since I didn't pick the Vikings this week, I could totally see a situation where they do it again if I don't have them circled in. So I think for now I'm going to have them circled in. Kirk is playing really well, and if Justin Jefferson does half of what he did with Green Bay, I just don't see that secondary holding up for the Niners. On the other end of the ball, it's going to be tough to stop Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. So they have quite the pass for the defensive side of things, but I do think that Kirk will be a much different.
So you're switching your pick to the Vikings.
I am. I'm going to go with the Vikings, but I wouldn't be shocked if I switched it again midweek because I am just very self-conscious.
Let me know.
Kirk looked really good. Justin Jefferson looked really good. And that defense got back some key guys like Anthony Barr. So I'm going to go with the Vikings in this one. I think that win over the Packers is huge for them and gives them a huge confidence boost. So I'm going to take the Vikings. Dom, you look like you're about to say something. So for Pat, does he take the Niners or Vikings?
Probably the Vikings. I don't know.
Parker, who do you think he takes?
I would probably say Vikings.
Yeah. I'm thinking Vikings too. So we'll give him the Vikings.
We got 2 more minutes, so
Okay, let's go quick. Rams, Packers.
protect the Rams. Packers are without their 2 tackles. Rams going off their bye, 2 straight losses. They should. I don't think they've lost 3 games in a row in the McVay era.
Yeah, Rams for me too. This was obviously one of the tougher ones. You're saying anytime you're going up against Aaron Rodgers and the Rams looking a little bit slow right now. That's a difficult task, but there's a lot of injuries on that Packers offensive side of the ball. That makes it tough for Aaron Rodgers to do his job if he's running for his life. Those guys like Aaron Donald, Von Miller down his throat. So I think the Rams do get it done. And maybe this will be that Von Miller game where he kind of makes his presence known a little bit more.
I'm going to take the Rams in this one coming off their bye. Next up, Browns, Ravens.
With the way Baker Mayfield's looking due to his shoulder injuries, it's tough for me to pick him, so I'll take the Ravens.
Yeah, Ravens for me too as well on this one.
I agree. I'm going to take the Ravens because Baker needs to sit out.
And then Pat's going to pick the Browns.
Yep. Did we give Pat a pick for the Rams?
I just skipped it.
We'll give him Rams. Next up, Seahawks, Washington, Monday night.
Washington, they're starting to play really well. Russell Wilson sucks. Not as bad as the rest of his team, but Give me football team.
Yeah, I'll go with the football team too. And the reason is just based on the fact that they do look a lot better, and I have more of a higher outlook on them.
I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one, and I think Pat takes Washington. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to end it for tonight. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a great week with your family and your friends. We'll be back here next week, same time, same place. Have a great rest of your week, y'all.
Thank you.